Statement number one is that Matt Stafford will be the reason why the Rams don't make the NFC Championship game. Now, he has been great down this last stretch of games. He threw two more interceptions against the San Francisco 49ers in Week 18. The second one came in overtime to end the game effectively and to end and to get the Niners into the playoffs. Luckily, the Cardinals lost, so the Rams still won the division for them. But still, another loss because Matt Stafford apparently can't clutch up games, and this is now his fifth multi-interception game of the season, the third in the row. If you want to talk about Rashad Penny having a fantastic stretch of games in the last 3 weeks, it's been the opposite for Matt Stafford in that same division. Matt Stafford finishes the regular season 41 with 41 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, and he's tied for the most interceptions in the league with Trevor Lawrence, even though Matt Stafford has less passing attempts than T-Law. By less passing attempts, I mean it's because Trevor Lawrence has 602, Matt Stafford has 601, but who's counting? It's still less, so I'm still technically right, which is the best kind of right. And it's because of this little bit of a collapse that Sean McVay, he's now 45-1 when leading at halftime. This was his first loss ever when that was the case. So crazy stuff here. And Matt Stafford has been, it's weird because he was so exciting at the beginning of the season. You know, he started off with, a 3-touchdown game, then a 2-touchdown game, then a 4-touchdown game. He only had 1 interception through the first 3 games, and then the next 3 weeks after those first 3, interception, and then it really started to turn downhill because in mid-season, back-to-back weeks with multiple interception games. And like I said, of course, he finished the last 3 weeks with 3 interceptions, 2 interceptions, and 2 interceptions. It was even worse when I still don't know how they beat the Vikings, even though Matt Stafford had 1 touchdown to 3 interceptions. That the Vikings are just that much worse for that game. Oh boy, but Matt Stafford, his play is clearly flawed, and why I didn't like in overtime is I believe he had 4 passing attempts. He targeted Odell Beckham Jr. 3 times and Cooper Kupp 1 time. It really should be the opposite, at the least. Should be 3 times to Cooper Kupp, 1 time to OBJ, even though OBJ has been doing pretty good. Give it to Cooper freaking Kupp, all right? And then another thing that you really could have done, hell, just keep giving it to Cooper Kupp 4 times. Just only target him because that man it makes plays no matter what. And Matt Stafford has success when targeting Cooper Kupp. Obviously, look at the stats that we've seen here. He just I think there's just something about where he just I don't know if I have confidence with him late games or important games right now. And that is obviously going to be a problem going to the playoffs because it's not like the Rams have an easy matchup. They are once again playing the Arizona Cardinals. They're having the trilogy game on the season. It's a split series right now, and that Cardinals defense, they looked good against Cowboys, but then they looked lackluster against the Seahawks. But through the air defensively through the air with their defensive backfield, they've been pretty good. They've been really solid, even against giving up a bunch of points to the Seahawks. A lot of that was on the ground, over 200 yards rushing from the Seahawks. We all know that the Rams could have a decent run game, but when it comes to their pass game, that's the suspect part, and the Cardinals have been doing well through the air defensively. So their first matchup is going to be super tough. And then their next matchup could be even harder because it's just going to get even worse, man. And you have to win 2 games to make it to the NFC Championship game. And it could be a mix of a few teams here, whether it could be the Bucks, it could be the Cowboys right there. And so, obviously, 2 tough teams to play against. I don't like their chances to make it to the NFC Championship game. It's going to be tough to even make it past this week. This is not an overreaction. I do think that Matt Stafford is the reason why the Rams won't make it that far. And he right now is the biggest question mark and probably the biggest weakness of this team as well, even though that he's one of the biggest strengths. He's just too careless with the football a lot of the time, and obviously it hurt them. And it could hurt them even worse come next week, or I guess this week technically.